And welcome back to the East County Sports Report Basketball Playoff Edition. Dave, we're trying to get together, recap the season, preview these games. The girls' games are about to go off in just a little bit, so we won't really touch on those. We'll try to prognosticate a little bit so we have some reference points for the next round, and it's also the Open Division we're going to talk about heavily in just a moment. But you have some announcements to make regarding this year's East County Sports Players of the Week.
Yes, as a matter of fact, we were a little late, better late than never, and we actually have something special this year. Instead of doing the typical famous pizza that we've done for many years, and don't get me wrong, that Nicolosi's pizza and Marcherio's pizza is fantastic, but we're going to do a little different. We even have a little sample here. So these are going to be the Letterman's jacket patches with East County Sports, also put on by Retro Sports. And that's going to be both for girls and boys. This is a sample of the girls. Something a little different, a little better keepsake for the kids this year, and then a certificate, of course, because of their great performance. And it just run down real quick so everybody's aware. As far as the girls go, we'll start with Mount McGill, and that's going to be Selena Peterson, Michelle Corley, Zitali Garola, and Taja Bennett from Mount McGill. El Capitan, of course, is going to be Mackenzie Curtis, and also Jordan Grandy had a fantastic year as well. Over there at Grossmont at the Hillers, Athena Sotelo and Marissa Giles, and I even added in there because I think she had a tremendous year and was definitely underestimated this season, is Sarah Henry. She was fantastic this year. Over there at West Hills, Caitlin Stainer, definitely someone that was overlooked as well. We head over to the Valley. Monte Vista, co-champs with Santana. A lot of great players there, and especially these two, I think, carried a lot of the weight. And for Monte Vista, that'd be Sarah Taha and Torricelli Honori. And then for Santana, Bella Terry and Lakayla, and please forgive me on this, Aquina Doc, David from Santana, Steel Canyon with Michaela Klein and Kylea Brandy, and from the El Cajon Valley Braves, we have Bean Georgies, and from Valhalla, Angie Orange. Granite Hills had a tremendous season. I just think they need to gain a little experience. Over in the Ocean for the girls, Foothills Christian, Ellie Turk, and Aranza Fonseca definitely had a great season. Of course, Ellie Turk was just off the hook this year. Over in the Western Division, we'll head over there real quickly. We have from Christian, Simone James, Ali Carrion, Kristen Williams, and she didn't make a lot of the list, but I think Yesenia Smith was fantastic. She, as far as defense especially, she's ferocious when it comes to the rebounds.
Al's Sports Shop in Santee is your premier sports store for all of San Diego County. From team equipment to leather jackets and awards, Al's is the best in San Diego County. Let Al give you his personal touch on equipment, awards, or any of your sports needs. See you at Al's.
All right, Dave, and while we're talking about the Patriots, it's time to get into that Game of the Year rematch right here in the East County. It was the Game of the Year for the boys or the girls the first time around, and I'm talking about the Open Division quarterfinal Friday night. The Mount McGill Matadors, the 19-time consecutive league champions. They won the Grossmont Hills League this year against the co-champions from the Western League, the Christian High Patriots. They've won 19 of 20 league games over the last 2 seasons. This is at the Ryan Athletic Center on Friday night. 4th-seeded Christian, 5th-seeded Mount McGill. Dave, we got what we wanted. maybe just not when we wanted it. We talked about it. We thought these two teams would meet in the playoffs. We just wish it wasn't in the first game. One of these teams is going home, but hard to argue the seedings given the way the county shook out. The Hoops Report had the Matadors number 4 and Christian number 6. The UT had the Matadors number 3 and the Patriots down at number 8. It doesn't matter, Dave. This is the rematch of the 60-56 win that Christian had. Selena Peterson had a huge game, scoring over 30 points, but Christian High had a little more depth tonight, that night. You mentioned some of the names, Simone James and Kristen Williams, and also don't forget about senior Allie Carrion had a terrific night. Dave, what do you see in the big game on Friday night?
Well, I got to say, let's not forget one of Allie's famous ones as of more recent. That was against Cathedral Catholic, and almost rallied her troops as she took it into overtime. The 3-point shot at the buzzer, and that was Allie Carrion. I mean, they basically collapsed in surprise that they took it that far. And of course, they beat Cathedral Catholic at their house, and losing 73-70, obviously, when it came down to it. But, from this Christian team, I just see a lot of speed. I mean, you got a track star in Simone James. I think that's one of their key components. If she can go after the bigs, because she is so quick with the ball, really quick on defense, can grab those rebounds very quickly. And then also, Allie Carrion has been on fire as far as her shots, and Kristen Williams is hitting her famous threes, of course, once again. And she was playing tremendous defense last time against Selena Peterson, which I'll get into now too. On the other side, I think Robbie's got these girls ready to go, and I think they're coming out with a vengeance. They do have to travel to Christian. Christian's a loud place. They have tremendous bench support as well. And I think Selena has to be definitely on point, but let's not forget, as you mentioned before the show, is Lolly Garola has to be on those 3-point shots. She has to be consistent. If they're able to stop her, I think that's going to be one of the keys to stopping the Matadors from getting that win. If not, there's still a couple out there. I think Corley can play a part. Also, let's not forget about Bennett. She can definitely step in, and she can drive to the basket as well. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be real close. If I had to choose, it's going to be Christian by 2.
Sure, Mount Miguel's going to just have to step up the scoring a little bit. Don't make Selena carry the whole team on her back, almost like she had to in that game. And like you said, Bennett, Garola, just a little bit more scoring because Christian has a little bit more depth than Mount Miguel, and that kind of propelled them to the game. They got off to a big push in the third quarter that kind of left Mount Miguel breathless, and that's how they took that key game, Dave. Standing in the way of whichever team survives will be those Cathedral Catholic Dons, Dave. The Dons are the top seed. They're going to face Bonita Vista, by the way, in the first round. So the Barons, you followed them a little bit, but they're going to be up against it. I will mention Christian took 2 of 3 from the Dons. The other 2 games, other than the one you mentioned, the game that you were at, the one game that the Matadors lost to the Dons, they played the Dons as well. They lost 74-50. If you remember, and you were at that game, Dave, right. And Ice Brady and Navarro were dynamite for Cathedral Catholic. Michelle Corley had a very good game in that one, but so Christian took 2 of 3 from the Dons. The Matadors did not fare as well. If they get past the Dons, whichever team, La Jolla Country Day, Mission Hills, or maybe Modern Day Catholic are on the other side of the bracket.
And just to touch on it real quick, I know it's on the East County team, but there is, I think there's a new team, as I had mentioned before too, in an earlier article, and I think Bonita Vista is they're the new Eastlake, and they're taking over in the South Bay this year, as far as I'm concerned, and I think they're one of the hotter teams going into the playoffs. Again, they're not East County, but one of the tougher South Bay and underestimated teams.
Well, they're playing Cathedral Catholic, so great season, Bonita Vista. That would be a monumental upset. In Division 2, Dave, a couple of teams you're very familiar with, El Capitan and Grossmont. I'd say they were expected to win their first round games. They're happening right after we did this broadcast. But now Grossmont, providing they win, going to have a little bit tougher test. They played Canyon Crest on Tuesday night. They should take care of business, but then they'd have to travel to face Our Lady of Peace in what would be a tough game.
Yeah, I think the key with Grossmont is I know that quite a few games this season, their leading scorer, Marissa Giles, was battling with the flu on 2 separate occasions. That took her out of three or four of the games, and she was in and out, and they had to keep her hydrated. Against a lot of teams, they just kept her on the sidelines just to preserve her for games like this. I think she's going to be the big key, though. She has to be on point. Let's not forget, as I mentioned before, Sarah Henry, I think, has had a spectacular year. As far as rebounds, I mean, her defense has been spectacular at the rim, and just overall, as far as pushing the team, she's really an enthusiastic player. And then at the same time, let's not forget who they didn't have last year around this time, and that's in Athena Sotelo. They didn't have her healthy. She was on the sidelines. I think that's going to be another key, and she's also turned in another all-star season.
Yeah, let's not ignore the fact that Sotelo has won a championship, a CIF championship, with this Grossmont team, with Coach Campbell, in her freshman year. So maybe she can lead them and they can repeat, get on a roll, and pull off a couple of upsets as well. Dave, the El Capitan Vaqueros were likely ready to host the winner of a matchup between University City and Otay Ranch because they were playing the 15th seed tonight. We expected them to win comfortably. If El Cap advances to the semifinals, and they're favored to do so, they could face Grossmont again, should the Hillers upset the Our Lady of Peace Pilots. El Cap.
No, I think El Cap has been, they've been a little streaky. No offense, Coach Curtis, but they've been a little streaky at times. I think it's always going to be the key is how Mackenzie Curtis plays. She pretty much dictates the tempo of the game. Let's not forget again, though, it is a tandem, and it is Jordan Grandy. When those two are working on the same team and on the same game plan, they're pretty tough to beat. Let's not forget also about Shai. She's definitely been fantastic.
Shauna Perez,
And those bigs they have now, I think those are key to beating a lot of these teams that are coming in the CIF playoffs. But it still just comes down to Mackenzie making her shots, being patient with her shots, and Jordan being consistent with the rebounds at the rim.
Dave, in Division III, the Santana Sultans, co-champions of the Grossmont Valley League, their first league title in 15 years. It will not be easy. They were an underdog tonight against South Bay Division champion Hilltop, but after an 0-4 start to the season for Coach Jordan Franey, she had to feel awfully rewarded for her decision to return to coach on Magnolia Avenue.
It is coming down from the north where she was, and I was invited to the first game of the season, and to see where she's at right now, if you would have told me that on that first game of the season that I watched at Santana, I would have said you were crazy. But these girls have really put together a fantastic team. They learned the fundamentals of basketball, and that's what Coach Jordan, she definitely taught the fundamentals. She taught them how to play basketball the correct way, and of course, she's definitely one of the better players that the Grossmont League has seen in the past anyway. So she was able to share that knowledge. She was able to encourage these kids. And I saw 3 or 4 of the games myself, and each game they got better. To start off, I think it was 0-9, and to be co-champions now of their league, that's really something to say, especially it's been so many years since they've had a championship.
I want to also mention Steel Canyon. They were also on the road tonight. They were a formidable challenger, I think, in the Grossmont Valley League to those league champions, but they were slight underdogs at Sage Creek tonight. Good luck to the Cougars. Hopefully they'll get by. They ended up with the higher seed, a better seed actually than the Sultans, who were the league champions, which was interesting, but they certainly could advance, and Dave mentioned some of their players, and I'll add Lala Wadley in there as my favorite, the guard. So Klein and Brandy return next year, so I think there's still some promise for the Cougars. They would likely face number 1 seed Mission Vista should they advance tonight, while Santana would likely be up against San Dieguito Academy. Our teams win either of those 2 games in the next round, and you have a serious bracket buster, so go East County. In Division 4, 4 teams come out of the East County, highlighted by number 2 seeded Foothills Christian, and we saw them warming up in the Matadors gym where they're playing their game here tonight against Rock Academy. Also in the bracket, Dave, in Division 4, Monte Vista, El Cajon Valley, and Valhalla. Dave, you're going to head over to Monte Vista. I want to mention them first. They're the co-champions of the Valley League, and as long as they take care of the matchup tonight against High-Tech Chula Vista, which won't be easy, even though they're seeded better and the Monarchs are expected to win. High-Tech Chula Vista had just 5 losses this year. Should they get by, they could face the Ocean League champion Knights. So Monte Vista has to be careful tonight and get out of this one.
And I want to mention, since we're talking about Monte Vista and how impressive they have been, just like Santana as well, and let's also add in there that head coach over there, Jordan Franey, actually coached head coach Sabrina Jimenez over there at Cal Lutheran. So they are very familiar with each other, and they definitely were both equally happy to be co-champions. But what I also want to mention is it's been since 1992. When I graduated in 1992, since the Monarchs won a league championship. Now that's really saying something for the Monarchs to put together a program with a brand new coach like this. And they had, 4 seniors left over from the other couple of years where they won 12 games in 3 years. So to see where they've come this far with Sarah Taha and with Tori being on fire herself, even Alyssa is overlooked.
Madrano,
She's definitely overlooked. But you know what? I think with the amount of support that they get from the fans, that place gets pretty loud. I saw them last week when they actually won the championship, the league championship, to become co-champions. And I'll tell you what, and let's not forget that they also have a great assistant with Sabrina as well. But I'm looking for them to take care of business tonight.
Yeah, after a 6-win season last year, they may have even had some concerns or self-doubts in their own minds, especially Sarah Taha and Tori Honoré, the seniors coming back. But man, they really did a great job to share that league title. Congratulations to the Monarchs. I'll just touch on the other teams. Dave, their seasons are maybe coming to an end, but El Cajon Valley, they got the 8th seed. Coach Randy Robinson was still trying to determine the site of their game against St. Joseph Academy yesterday. I think it was on the road, but anyways, that's a near toss-up. Braves could win that game, but they would have to face top-seeded Madison, which played Valhalla tonight. Madison will beat Valhalla. I'll just mention real quick, in Division 5, Liberty Charter and Mountain Empire had byes into the quarterfinals. The Lions are seeded 3rd. The Redhawks are seeded 4th. Dave, West Hills also made the playoffs in Division 1, but they were a big underdog on Tuesday night. So should be an exciting time in the playoffs. Hopefully we can get together with everybody again, but we're off and running. So thanks for joining us on the East County